It is the Riot Podcast. This is the Thursday, May 11th edition. Somebody say something quick.
Quit telling us to do that every time.
You know it's coming.
Right before we start the podcast, you got to remind me of that.
You're a professional. You should just know at this
I
point.
can't remember.
You just jump right in and you tell them the quick good stuff is about what we covered in our podcast today.
I think we should start lying.
Lying?
I think we should start lying in the podcast intro. What do you guys think about that?
I think if you just were like, hey, if you listen to the end, we got a chance to win $1 bajillion, something like that.
Yeah,
That's a good way.
We need a hook.
I think that we should just talk about the stories, but just like slightly tweak them. Kind of like, what's the thing when you like put a thumbnail up that's not really what the...
Clickbait?
Clickbaity.
Yeah.
We should be more clickbaity in the podcast intro. Like, we talk about, like, Sylvester Stallone's daughters or whatever that are all, like, super baddies. I could be like, I went on a date with Sylvester Stallone's daughter.
Absolutely.
Boom.
Be like, listen to how Isaiah's dating Sylvester Stallone's daughters went.
Exactly.
Yes.
There you go.
And then it could be like, also coming to a Wendy's near you, they're going to have robots at the windows, which is actually kind of true.
Yeah.
We
It's-
talk
it's
about
true.
the testing of the AI ordering that Wendy's is now going to
And
try.
Also,
Somehow-
this is a good one. I like also why Nikki thinks women should not be allowed to go to Mars.
There
Yep,
it is.
uh-huh.
I
There
like
it
that.
is.
Yeah,
Actually,
that's
And
a good
Hudson and
one.
I are for it. We want women to go to Mars.
Yes, by all means.
when you hear that story, just know we're not falling for it.
Yes, exactly.
That's a trap.
And so that's a lot of the good stuff. You can
I
touch
love
on
this
whatever you
idea.
want.
So anytime, we'll just tweak it a tiny bit so that you guys are more interested to make sure to last all the way to the very end of the podcast.
And then when you get there, you'll just be disappointed.
I didn't
No,
talk
if-
about any of that stuff.
if we make the podcast long enough, they won't remember by
Yeah,
then.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's
They'd
fine.
be like, well, he said he was dating their daughter. This doesn't sound exactly like that, but it sounds kind of similar.
Well, get excited to tell what we really will be saying then in the podcast today.
What if we do this? What if we said part things that we actually talk about and just make up some other things, and then the mystery will be which ones are actually ones we talk
Ooh,
about.
that's a way better way to do
Yeah,
it.
isn't it?
We could have a couple fake stories that we didn't actually talk about.
But I think
Right.
sometimes we don't remember the whole show to where
True.
I don't think we might be thinking we're lying, but we actually did
We
cover
actually
it.
are telling the truth.
That's why. So let's
No,
not.
I'm going to make up some real good ones for tomorrow that we don't
let's
actually hit.
Not have a podcast of lies.
I
All
love
right?
lies. I
It's
think
not-
they're
It's not
hilarious.
lies, it's mystery.
Mystery and intrigue.
Yes, mhm.
Well, we'll just let you guys enjoy the podcast. We won't lie or fib anymore. Make sure you text and say hi at 877-2-RADIO-U. We should be talking with John from Skillet in tomorrow's podcast.
Unless it's a lie.
Good point. And then with this podcast, if you want to check out the video from before, we did a Riot food fight today. We tried the 2 new drinks from Starbucks. So make sure you watch that video when you're done.
What if our retention metrics would just be the best if we didn't do an intro at all?
I'm afraid that's what we're going to get to. Actually, it'll be
Now we're
there's
thinking.
not even an intro. They're like, no podcast at all.
No, cut the podcast. Enough of this.
Thank you guys for listening. We do appreciate you.
See you guys.
Catch you next
Bye.
time.
It's the worst of the riot on Radio U.
This is a big a moment for women, Nikki. I think you should be very proud and very excited because the European Space Agency has found that as we look towards sending astronauts to Mars,
Oh, yeah?
the European Space Agency has found that it should be women that go to Mars.
First?
They need the first person on Mars needs to be a
Well,
woman.
Okay, great, right? You know, at
Yeah.
first you're like, that's what an honor. That's
It is.
so
It's a huge honor.
so modern
history.
of them
History.
to think about that. But no, because the first people that go to Mars are never coming back.
Well, this is only it's 1,080 days is the mission they were talking about. What's that? 3 years?
Yeah.
So for 3 years,
And you never come back.
they can make it back.
They're not supposed to. I think it is. They've been pretty transparent.
You don't know. And besides that, it would be an honor to die on Mars.
No, it
You
wouldn't.
die a hero.
No,
You
even
would-
if I was the first woman to die on Mars, it's not an honor.
you would, whichever woman gets to die on Mars, it will be a great honor to them.
I feel
people
like-
have died doing much stupider things.
feel like a group of guys got together and like, all right, let's work on the Mars thing. And you're like, I have a great idea. Why don't we let women have this honor?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
should.
And then they're the ones that go first.
Well, it's not just because that we want to get rid of a few of them. It's because it would also be cheaper.
really?
We'd only have to pay him 76%.
Oh, no, I
I'm just
get that.
kidding.
You're
No, but-
awful. You
no,
are awful.
It would save $158 million to send a team of women to Mars as opposed to a team of men.
That's horrible.
Well, it's
I will say
true.
we probably could get there faster. We're just more efficient on some things.
Yeah, but
so-
you probably get lost.
Oh, I just can't. Hudson, I don't get mad at you.
I love this story
For
so far,
one-
and I
one
haven't even said anything yet.
One moment, I think I got mad at you.
It's just a stereotype.
Uh-huh.
But it would save money, save food.
Because they don't eat as
'Cause we
much.
They don't
get
eat
to
as much.
No, you guys
need
choose
less
not to eat as
calories.
much.
You need less calories.
This is awful because you guys tell us we don't get as much.
Listen. The
Yeah, just smaller
for
humans,
this,
typically.
Yeah, for this 1,080-day mission, the women would use less oxygen, produce less carbon dioxide, and require less food, and therefore it'd be safer and save money and resources if women go to Mars first.
Wow.
We're sending the littlest ones, right?
That makes sense,
I
right?
mean, it would make sense.
Thank you to the European Space Agency, the ESA, for all of this and for Hudson's take on this.
You know, we can just never win. We try to give them something
I know.
to have. Like, you guys can be the first one to go to Mars. It's like your thing. That can be your thing, but they just don't want to do it.
I'm sure there's plenty of women that are very excited about this. It's just not Nikki.
Mm-mm.
They will die on Mars, and they will be happy to do it.
You send me, you pay me more. I'm eating all the food, and I'm going to cause trouble.
Double the
It doesn't
food.
matter what
That's
we
right.
pay you, you'll be dead.
If I'm going to die on Mars, I'm going to eat like a king. You better bring some food along the way.
They'll be like, we sent 3 years of food. You're like, well, it's gone. All right. I had a bad night.
This is Radio U's Worst of the Riot.
Let's do an NBA update.
Oh, how was last night?
Last night, boy, were Isaiah and I wrong.
Why?
Because we both thought that the Heat and Lakers were likely to close out their series and move on each to their respective conference finals, and neither of them did.
So the Warriors won?
The Warriors won. They have stayed alive, and so have the New York Knicks.
Oh, you guys were pretty sure the Knicks would have lost.
Yeah, we
I
weren't
still
feel-
thought they were going to for a little bit of last night in the
Yeah.
fourth quarter. It was a pretty close game until the end.
Yep. So close call, but the series continues on. The biggest headline from last night is that in the Warriors-Lakers game, Anthony Davis, definitely the second best player on the Lakers behind LeBron, took an inadvertent elbow to the face, and he actually left the game. He was seen in a wheelchair. He wasn't able to return to the game.
It was that bad?
It was that bad. They say he did not look very stable on his feet after he got hit. I do have an update that he was tested for concussion, and he seems to have avoided that, but he still got banged up pretty good. So obviously that affected last night's game. But the question is there any after effects? Is he going to be fully healthy for game 6
It
back
might
in
have-
LA?
Maybe it just hit the right spot, like, unfortunately, because
Mhm.
otherwise, when you're watching the clip of it, it doesn't look too bad. But if it's an elbow to the right spot, then that's what caused some problems.
Yeah.
Hudson, do you want to say it or you want me to say it?
Do you not think it's as bad as he's making it seem?
He's kind of a weenie.
Okay.
If I'm being frank, I love Anthony
I didn't want to
Davis.
say that, but when you're watching it, it's like, what? Like, what
He's
happened?
like very well known as like, if not the most, like a top 3 most fragile player in the
is
league.
fragile for
He's
sure.
always hurt. And so when
Handle with
they
care.
said he doesn't have a concussion, but he was seen in a wheelchair.
I see. That
I'm
makes
like,
more sense
wow.
now.
I get it, and he's 7 foot tall.
Yep.
So I get that, like, if you are a little bit dizzy, like if I was a little bit dizzy, it wouldn't be a big deal because if I fell, it wouldn't be that far.
You'd fall
and if I
5.5
fell into
feet.
somebody, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But obviously, if you're 7 foot tall and you fall,
Your
that's
balance.
a big deal. People
Yeah.
around you could injure a small human, and but the whole wheelchair thing, no concussion. Come on,
Especially like if it's such an important game and you're leaving the game, that seems a bit.
you better be in that wheelchair.
Yeah, it seems
Yeah.
like
They're like,
a
you
bit
got to sit in a
much.
wheelchair or something because this looks bad right now if you're not going to have a concussion.
Well, have you ever been pushed around in a wheelchair before?
It's lo-
No.
What do you mean? Like,
Like, have you just gotten to be
I've
pushed
never been
around
in a
for whatever
wheelchair.
reason? It's actually it's kind of nice sometimes.
it is.
Really?
Like if he was feeling a little wobbly, I don't blame him. Like, yeah, have somebody push me around. I'll take it.
But I mean, these again are very important games,
Yeah.
and it just doesn't seem as serious as maybe he was making it.
Well, it was also like what? It was later in the game, so maybe they were kind of like, yeah, we'll just
Send him out?
We'll,
Sit him
yeah,
down.
we'll play it safe and we'll keep him around. Hopefully, he'll be good to go for Game 6, just in case. And with concussions the way they are now, better safe than sorry.
That is true.
And so he hopefully will be good to go for Game 6. It'd be so disappointing too if he did wind up if the Warriors are able to come back because of this, or just for any reason. It would be so disappointing.
And Game 6 is a big game because this is right now the Lakers are up 3-2. They need to win one more game to close out the series, and Game 6 is their last chance at home.
Oh, I see.
And the Lakers are really good at home, so if they lose this next game at home and Anthony Davis doesn't play, then Game 7 is back at Golden State,
which they could do better,
which could be tough.
So when's Game 6?
When? We
What's
should have
today?
done that.
What's today? Thursday?
Today's Thursday.
Yeah.
It's got to be tomorrow.
Okay,
They
I
have
wasn't
been
sure.
alternating on and off, but we'll just assume it's tomorrow, and hopefully we're right.
This is The Riot. Radio U.
You know, Sylvester Stallone, ever live for nothing or die for something.
It's actually pretty good.
Yeah. He's got a new reality show coming out.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's him and his wife and his 3 daughters. It's called, I like this, The Family Stallone.
Very cool.
What about Frank Stallone? What about him? So it's going to be premiering on Paramount Plus on May 17th, a few days from now. They're doing the rounds of interviews, and they were just on the Today Show, and his daughters were talking about how Sylvester Stallone, being their dad, makes it difficult for them to date.
Oh, because he's very intimidating?
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
Because he can't, he's getting on in years now, but he's Rocky, he's Rambo, he's Judge Dredd. He's a big, intimidating guy. At least he seems like it. And so if you were to go on a date with one of these gals and they brought you home to meet Papa, and Papa's Sly Stallone himself, would that be intimidating to you? Or would it be like, whoa, this is cool, I want to hang out with dad more than I want to hang out with the daughter now?
I think it's probably not just because not like he's an action star intimidation, but just because he's so famous.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the other guy who talks a lot about it? Mark Wahlberg. He says a lot with like his daughter or something. So
Another short king.
it's Mark Wahlberg. I think Sylvester Stallone's not very tall.
That's what I'm saying. Sylvester Stallone isn't even a big guy.
Yeah.
He's not?
He's 5'9", like 180 pounds.
Now. I mean, he hasn't gotten that much shorter, but he used to be, you've seen him with
He
his
had more
shirt
muscles?
off. Yeah. And if you see him with his clothes on, maybe you just assume that's what's still underneath.
Could be. Maybe he wears like the boots with heels that some guys wear. So.
The lifts.
Yeah, the lifts.
Yeah. So, what would you think, Isaiah, if you were going out with one of these gals and then all of a
Say
sudden...
you were wooing
A
a
Stallone.
Stallone, one of the young ladies, and you had to go meet him.
Well, for me, as I've never looked up Sylvester Stallone's daughters before, I'm just shocked that these girls are all 3 just stunning. I don't even know how that works.
What a
It doesn't-
surprise.
It doesn't make any sense to me because I'm not that Sylvester Stallone isn't like a good-looking older guy, but like all 3 of his daughters stunningly beautiful. So I would be more intimidated by them than him for sure if I went on the date with them.
Just because the whole family is so over the top attractive?
Yeah, because the 3 girls, I mean, if I walked into a room and those 3 were sitting there like, oh, we'd like to meet Isaiah, I would be like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how to talk to each of you. I needed to get you all individually. I need a little time with all 3 of you. Actually, let's just make it a triple date. This sounds great to me. And then dad could also be there. I would not be in as much awe as him as I would his daughters, unfortunately.
That makes sense. So they're just all intimidating.
Yeah, they definitely are.
I think that's a good point. If you're a guy, it's probably, unless you just have through the roof self-confidence, asking one of these gals out in the first place and having any kind of successful date is much more intimidating than saying hello to Sylvester Stallone.
Well, one of the
What
daughters...
is he going to do to you?
One of the daughters does have a boyfriend, and the boyfriend and Sylvester Stallone are like BFFs, and they have matching tattoos.
Well, look at that.
So,
Man.
it is possible. They're not all single.
How do we secure a date? I'm willing to talk to Sylvester. I don't really care that much about him. I would love to talk to his daughters more, preferably.
There you go. Well, they've got a show, and it sounds like they're on the market.
Sounds like I need to get on it.
Meeting Isaiah will be season
Get me
2.
on the show.
The Riot with Hudson and Nikki on Radio U.
We could take a road trip to the first Wendys to ever have an AI drive-through.
Oh, for the ordering?
Yeah.
Hey, that's fun. I bet we know the one.
Did you see? Yeah, it says that Wendys, so they partnered, and I guess they're testing it in Columbus first, and then if it goes well, they will branch it out to Wendys throughout the country. But they've teamed up with Google to put together what they call Fresh AI, and it's actually artificial intelligence interface. It's going to be able to have a conversation with you, a limited conversation, they say. Take your order in the drive-through.
Yeah.
And then obviously the real people make the food, and that saves them having to have an employee manning the microphone, and saves them having to pay an employee to man the microphone.
I feel like they're running out of people.
Oh, definitely. People don't want to work there. They don't want to pay people to work at all. It's everybody's happy except probably us, because I don't know if this is going to work.
I have seen, some of the videos, especially like McDonald's was testing some. There's some downfalls to AI through the ordering. Why don't we just do, like, if you ever gone through Sheets, or why don't you just do the touch screens? Like
the kiosk.
Why are they so resistant to that?
You just put the kiosk outside, and then you just put your order in and you drive up. Like, why can't I just do that at the ordering thing?
I'll probably tell you why.
Why?
Because I don't think the touch screens probably do well outside.
That's what I was thinking.
The Sheets ones are fine.
Simple.
They put the little umbrella thing over it, and it's just fine.
I've never done that.
Yeah.
You go to Sheets all the time, right?
I go inside.
Yeah, I go inside every time. I didn't even know that. I mean, I've seen drive-thrus. I'm like, what are those for?
Yeah, I didn't know.
I was like, is that a car wash or something? I don't know that.
So instead, if you want to make an order, you don't talk to somebody. You just put in your order yourself.
I don't talk to somebody anyways.
I know, but you can do that outside.
Via drive-through.
Yeah.
Why haven't we done this?
I know.
I didn't know. I don't think it's a thing, but I'm not sure. It could be. I like going inside Sheets.
I mean, all of ours are brand new. So
yeah, it probably is. I don't know. I like going inside.
Mine has
the
it.
whole experience.
I don't want to go inside. I prefer not to talk to anybody. And I know AI, the person in front of you is going to think it's funny to cause problems with it.
Yeah, that's right.
So I would just like a little touch screen
that's
that I can.
Exactly what I was thinking.
I just want to do my own order and get in and get out.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. If they added just a touch screen where you can, you know what they do? It's called the app.
It's the app.
It's
why
called
don't
I
you?
hate the app.
And then you just scan it when you go through. And why can't we just do that?
Can I tell you? Okay, hold on.
I hate the app.
Hold on.
Continue.
This is the worst thing. When you go to the drive-through, right, and you pull up, and it says, "Welcome to McDonald's. Are you using the mobile app?"
Oh, but that doesn't even matter if you say yes.
Yeah,
it doesn't do
because
anything.
It's not actually a person. It's a
just a
recording.
screen.
It doesn't do
And
anything.
I always get frustrated with my wife because we've gone to this
I
McDonald's
was
so many
going to say
times.
the same thing.
And she always answers, and I say, "Don't even acknowledge.
Don't even say it. That's
Don't
what I
even
said.
give them the satisfaction."
I hate it. My roommate did the same thing. Said you got to say yes because I always use the mobile app when I go to McDonald's because I use the deals, and it always asks, "Are you going to use the mobile app?"
Yep.
And I used to say yes every time, and then it would be like, "Hey, how may I help you, man?" And I'm like, "Okay,
The
well,
best is
what am
when
I saying yes for?"
The recording, at least of the one I go to, is an employee of that McDonald's.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you'll say yes, and then he'll say the exact same thing.
Hey, how may I help you,
say
man?
it again. It's actually the guy, not the recording.
See?
I hate it.
If we
I hate it.
If we could just have some screens, put up a little thing over it, we could do it ourselves. You don't have to do any sort of AI and hire anybody.
I'm fine with can we just put the 16-year-olds back in there? The 17. I'm fine with just the high schoolers. I don't need the AI. They can just make money working at McDonald's. I'm fine with that. Because then when they mess up my order, at least I can just be upset with some 17-year-old.
Yeah,
when the
not
AI does it,
yourself.
then I'm just 10 times more upset.
And there's no
I'm like, well, if
help.
you didn't have this stupid robot back here, my burger would have been plain.
You guys sound very grumpy.
Wasn't that a great Riot clip? While you're here, you should watch more of our videos and subscribe so you don't miss what we do next.